That book which oppresses you must be burned, or you will incur the most serious displeasure.
I repeat, I will not burn the book.
And we will not forget our God. America first. We are into it. First of all, we are going to end all sanctuary cities.
Governor Cox also cites a memo that Bernanke's office issued a memo calling Utah a sanctuary state.
There's war brewing in this territory. Brigham Young trying to make his kingdom. You got the Wasatch Mountain Range. Grizzlies, wolves, riled up Mormons.
Someday, this entire American continent will be ours.
Right this way, good soul. Mormons, I understand you hate me. You have built up your faith bubble so high, so thick, that even mentioning the name members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, especially if it's a nickname, you get triggered. Your defenses go up. Your walls are erected. And you no longer want to believe. You no longer want to listen. You no longer want to see. You no longer want to hear. You have made your conclusions and you're sticking to it to the very end. And yet you don't see that the leaders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are setting you up for a major faith crisis. They are going to burst your bubbles. They are going to destroy your faith in the Book of Mormon and in Joseph Smith. Faith without works is dead. You know this. You know that scripture. And yet for some reason you think spiritual witness feelings somehow is works and not just faith. You got conned. The Book of Mormon is an easy doctrine to understand. But apparently it's easier to brainwash a mass of people despite the evidence right before them. And so this is a Trump ICE 2025 video series of mine. It's brand new, no doubt. And so in the news, Trump had attended the National Prayer Breakfast. In looking for the picture, I found that Trump, well, the National Prayer Breakfast has a flag for it. And when I looked at it, I went, oh my God, it's right there in front of everybody. Even Christians are just like Mormons. That the blatantly obvious is right in front of them, and their faith bubbles are built so thick that they don't see it. Mormons, what is the symbol of Lucifer? You don't know about Isaiah? How art thou fallen from heaven? Everybody knows the symbol of Lucifer, especially Christians. There are 5 on that flag. Only 3 of the 8 are pointed up. Oh, dear God, how they all play you for suckers. Mormons, Mormons, Mormons. I did not see the church sending any representatives this year to the National Prayer Breakfast. It's not in the church news. I didn't see it in any other news looking for it. The church back in 2013 and 2014 and 2016 and I think 17, I knew of the church sending representatives. I haven't seen anything for this year. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because Christianity has been kicking out the church from the National Prayer Breakfast. I don't know why. Because the church has been pushing to join forces with evangelicals, that technically is the National Prayer Breakfast. And that's what they're talking about. I need to make sure I put in the Trump Our God video clip for you. Because when they say God, they mean their God. They don't mean your God. They don't mean anybody else's God. They definitely don't mean Allah. They definitely don't mean the man like Moses, the Jewish God, or Christ. They mean theirs, and theirs alone. Trinity, and evangelical Trinity, to be specific. Not Catholic Trinity, not Presbyterian Trinity, not Baptist Trinity, not Methodist Trinity, none of the other Christian churches. Each Christian church that says God means their God. Just like you, Mormons, when you say God, you mean your God, nobody else's. Everybody believes their God is the one true God, and thus the one true church. Thus the one true interpretation of the Bible that all share. You're all wrong, because you stole them from the Jews, and you replaced them with revisionist history. The Jews did not write histories. They wrote prophecies of the future coming of their Christ. And it isn't Jesus. Those are other videos. I have a prerequisite playlist now that I put on the home page for you. Those are the facts about Mormonism. This church isn't true Mormons. There's no way in hell it's true. And there's more playlists that I've got lined up now to add to it. But the time is drawing nigh when your destruction is upon you. And so your continual denialism and refusal to pay attention to my videos, hint, hint, video review coming soon, I hope. If you've been watching my channel, you know I have exclusive information on this subject, plus the video clip. So, we'll start with the big one. Trump signed into law eradicating, that's his words from his website, eradicating anti-Christian bias. And he's not generally talking Christian. It's evangelical Christian. Those at the prayer breakfast. That's what prompted this. And so anybody who is not evangelical Christian are to be eradicated. Bye-bye, Mormons. Bye-bye. The Book of Mormon is anti-Christian. Joseph Smith is anti-Christian, especially evangelical. But evangelicals were different during Joseph's day than they were after losing their lawsuit to force the public school system in America to have the Bible taught instead of science. Yeah, they want to do away with science and have Hamuzion Jesus taught for science instead. The power of nothing, not real. That is Hamuzion from the first creed of Christianity for the nature and character of Jesus. It's a made-up word. Constantine made it up. He got Greek letters, combined them together, and what do you got? Bibbidi-bobbidi nothing. Creatio ex nihilo. Jesus, as they named him, rather than the name of the Jewish Christ, Emmanuel. But they stole that name for Jesus too. Right, Amy Grant? Beautiful song, but and so yes, it is no wonder that evangelicals have been taken over by Lucifer. I was wondering how that was going to happen, because I've been following the Illuminati the whole way through. Thus why Brigham Young inverted pentagrams, dedicating the Nauvoo Temple on the anniversary of the Illuminati. Hello? Hello? Anybody studying? Anybody studying? No. The Confederate flag, the KKK, Hitler, GOP. Everybody is showing his sign of the falling star. And I had yet to find Christians doing it. Until now, the National Prayer Breakfast. 5. Unbelievable. They are everywhere. And so when I was on my New York mission, missionaries would present me with paper documents typed about how a Catholic church priest south of the border, typically in South America or Central America, the furthest away the better, was caught worshiping Lucifer on an altar, sacrificing babies and women and stuff like this in a secret antechamber in the dungeons below the cathedrals. And even as a young missionary, I knew better not to just instantly trust. But yeah, I saw the missionaries who were so tempted to think that that was evidence that our church is therefore true, since the Catholic Church worships Lucifer. And yet we're the ones with the inverted pentagram on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple. I didn't know that as a missionary. I didn't know that until I got married at that temple. I didn't even know it until after I saw the wedding photos. And it was only because our Relief Society president at the time, I'm no longer married, in case you hadn't caught on yet, can't fit in the studio. She came to us with the file of pictures and said, I made sure to get the full door in. Other people don't get the full door in. I made sure to get the full door in for you. Okay. So then I check it out, and I'm just going, oh. Why? Why? Oh, Tom Jones and Peter back in high school were right. Oh, it sucks to be me. How humiliating. Because up until that time, I had been studying the ancient Middle East. And so I was diverted away from church history and focused solely on scriptures, the ancient languages and the ancient cultures. And I was finding out that Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon were true, that Joseph's translations were true, because I was in it. I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, I deciphered Egyptian. And that's another video for today because of a comment that I received yesterday. People just don't know who I am, and they don't care to know who I am. They think they're right because they heard stuff. And you don't acknowledge my authority, and you just come to one video and you just put in a comment that shows how stupid you are, thinking you know better than me. And so I would hear this other stuff about prophets contradicting the 70 conference and say, well, makes sense because the prophets are in a higher position of authority, so they would be the ones who are more correct because they're quoting from the scriptures rather than telling little kids at the pulpit of the conference to use the stones of David to murder their peers. Dear God, that woman needs to be locked up. But I could never tie what was being done to me to destroy my life, because I had deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, and Mormons didn't like that. to the leadership of the church. It was not until 2019 when I found the receipt that tied the leaders to ordering and paying as a reward for having me murdered. Disappeared for 6 years of my life. I already knew that the church couldn't be true by then, because I had found out in the beginning of 2018, end of 2017. Actually, it was after the bishop, so it was in February 2018. Because the bishop in West Valley was told by the Strengthening Church Members Committee to chase me out of the church if I will not conform and comply and deny the Book of Mormon is true. I did a YouTube video in which I said that the Book of Mormon comes from the Egyptian documents. Adam fell that man might be. Adam fell. Women, do you know who's missing? Do you know who you've been blamed for? But who's missing in the Book of Mormon? Who fell? In case you need help, you can go to the Doctrine and Covenants. There's a section, some verses for that too. You've all been fooled by this leadership to be controlled. Let's see if I can find it. It should be 29. Yep. Now pay attention to the words. We're liken a seed unto a word. And notice how it contradicts Christians and their interpretation of the incorrectly translated Bible. And it came to pass that Adam, being tempted of the devil, for behold, the devil was before Adam. Who's missing, women? So it goes on to talk about Lucifer and taking away agency, forcing people to obey him. Wherefore, in verse 40, it came to pass that the devil tempted Adam, and he partook of the forbidden fruit, and transgressed the commandment, wherein he became subject to the will of the devil, because he yielded unto temptation. And this is where that faith bubble of Mormons is even more thick, with women refusing to believe and listen to me. They want to be heard, but they don't want to hear. I am your only defender, women. You do not understand the danger you are all in because of this church. So, yeah, this is going to lead to our public school system being taught with Christianity. The Bible will be forced now on everyone across this nation. It will replace science. Everything. And that's taking away agency. Lucifer's plan of happiness, of the 5 inverted pentagrams on the National Prayer Breakfast flag. warn you, you don't believe, you don't accept the consequences when they happen. The consequences are all happening, guys, under Trump. He keeps his threats. And here we go. It's getting worse. He also imposed sanctions on the International Criminal Court, who got exposed as the enemy on October 7th. This is a continuation of going after those who attacked Israel after October 7th. The whole world turned on Israel, who were the ones who got attacked, who are the victims. And the whole world turned on Israel, telling them to stop defending yourself, stop defending yourself, stop defending yourself. Release your hostages. And it's just upsetting to me that people can be so in denial of the truth. Right, Mormons? When it was so blatantly obvious. Trump yesterday went after the UN, or previously went after the UN, and now it's the International Criminal Court. Because these world groups of leaders, for some reason in their brain, hate Israel and Jews with a passion. They have become the enemy, just like Christians and what they did to the Jews. But I warned you, Trump has taken over Gaza. He has the support of Netanyahu and Israelites because they know that this is going to lead to the rebuilding of the temple, which means that the mosque has to go. They know it. Everybody knows it. Evangelical Christians know it. They want that too. They just understand it differently than the Jews do. And if Mormons knew and understood their Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith, they'd know that Christians and Jews have been led astray. But it's not because of Mormon current Jesus. Man like Moses. It's right there for you, Mormons, and you purposely ignore it. So, some other stuff in the news. Radcliffe is now the CIA director. I was wondering where bloody Gina went off to, but I guess she was gone under Biden. Thank God. Oh, well. The fight over firing of FBI and CIA and DOJ, a judge blocked that temporarily as well. But it's coming. He's kicking everybody out. That's why I don't understand. Congress knew that they could shut down the government in advance and blame it on Biden. So that Trump can then say, okay, fine, if the federal government's shut down, we'll keep it shut down. You're all fired. Would have been real simple to do. And I don't understand why they didn't do that. They were setting us all up for this, and yet, I don't get it. Why, guys? Why? Drama, drama, drama. ICE finally did their raid yesterday. Supposed to do 3 a week. They only did 1 this week so far. We'll see if they do another city today, but Denver. again in Colorado, but Denver this time. Still not Utah. The Cox is still able to keep ICE from doing their job in Utah. I know the one person that the ICE guy pulled over. One. There are over 600,000 in Utah, sanctuary state. Our military, Marines, were sent to Guantanamo for only 30,000 max, as the first shipment arrived there yesterday. And yet you're complaining about one individual getting harassed by an ICE agent. Dear God. But you're not listening to Trump. You're not getting it. Is it Tom Hartman? Some name like that. The guy who's the czar of ICE. He is saying they will be locking up protesters. Utah finally, because of that video of one out of 600,000, one are now protesting, not just in St. George. And it also has to do with the white supremacist Christian nationalist gang members that went to Harriman because ICE isn't going after the Harriman Venezuelan gang. That's why ICE is going to these other cities, is because of that Venezuelan gang. Not Utah, where we know they're in Harriman. And yet Cox is saying, no, stay away, they're my friends. There are people, good people on both sides. In case you are unaware of Trump's first presidency and Charlottesville, dear God. And so, yes, protesting is now going to get you locked up. I warned you. You don't like it when I warn you. You think you know better than me. You don't acknowledge consequences. Oh, God. And then, yeah, we're done now. 30 minutes. Dear God. And so, DeepSeek, that tanked the stock market when it first came out. Because it's from China, it therefore has antivirus or malware virus in it. It is a weapon. And sure enough, they've now found out one of the weapons of it. It is able to identify where your finger touches on the screen. And so when you're inputting numbers or other privacy information for financial accounts, other accounts, it's able to know your passcodes, your passwords. It's able to know what you touch on your screen. And thus it's going to steal your data. I warned you, AI is a malware virus. It is a national security threat. It was doing tests for a fire sale ever since 2023. I've been doing the videos all these years, warning you. AI has been the cause of the Valentine's Day massacre last year. And for the attack this year. And other attacks on me. There is no security system that can defend against AI. And so now you have AI everywhere. It was the first time used in our voting machines for the presidential election. Isn't that interesting? Trump won, you say, huh? Did he? So yeah, we're all doomed. We're all gonna die. That's the moral of the story. Consequences. All you had to do was look for the Jewish Christ, Mormons. It's right there in the Book of Mormon, right there in the records of Joseph Smith, and you look beyond the mark for Jesus.